The future is green. Yes, green means sustainable. But we're talking about the green, commonly known as hemp, ganja, weed, or cannabis if you want to keep it small. But the world of weed and cannabis is much bigger than smoke and mirrors. I'm Lakai Natasha.
I'm Dr. Snap.
I'm Kendall, the farm plug.
And I'm Antoine Mordican.
And this is Growing the Green.
Here we discuss laws and news stories that address communities that are impacted by climate change and the war on drugs. As cannabis becomes more mainstream, it's important that our communities are equipped with the tools to renew, restore, and rejuvenate themselves. Let's grow together.
Amazing. So today, today's new segment, I like to say, Happy Black History Month to all my brothers and sisters out there. You're looking at Black history itself. Myself, Antoine Mordican, the CEO and owner of Native Black Cultivation, we were awarded one of the first, we are the first Black-owned and operated medical cannabis cultivators here in the state of Alabama. And since we last talked, it's a lot done happened. Let alone in the state as well at the national level. We're gonna get back into Biden. He ain't let nobody out yet.
You want to start at Biden and
Nah. We gonna love on Biden a little bit. We gonna love on him a little bit.
Not.
But the state of Alabama, they have now actually issued the medical cannabis license. So let's take a step back. Let's go back to November 27th.
Right.
Which was a very historic day. November 27th of 2023. The Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, they decided to pull the licenses back again for the second time. So now they're preparing to roll out the license again for the third time. And they put a special procedure in place to allow each applicant the opportunity to be able to present in front of the commission. Your boy truly had the first presentation out of the whole entire program.
Gifted.
Set the whole tone.
We watched it.
Nobody was really prepared for how well you came in and presented your
cultivation.
And by nobody, we mean the commission, because we know.
We had to set the bar though.
Sure.
We had to set the bar. I feel bad for everybody that went behind me. My apologies.
Which was everyone, by the way. Like, when we say first, we mean they did cultivators first, and Antoine was the first cultivator. So out of everyone from all of the different fields, what was it? Let's review, right?
Cultivation,
processing,
vertical
integration, dispensaries, and transportation.
And state lab testing.
6 licensing categories.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And can we just, we backing up a little bit and just want to remind the people what Alabama went through in awarding license with the initial intention to give out licenses in the June
12th
of 2023, right? And having a case come upon them because of discrimination.
Discrepancies in the grading process.
June 12th, they awarded the license. Within like 7 days, they recognized some inconsistencies in the way they tabulated the scores. So they put a stay on the
commission was not awarding license. They assigned this to an outside entity. Right?
No, the license was awarded at that point. But they put a stay on themselves, and then they had a lawsuit come against them that put a judge put a restraining order on them that they couldn't do anything.
Right.
So at that point, that's when they took it upon themselves to have a third party come in and look at the process about how they went about evaluating the application to make sure that the scoring was proper, as well with this rescoring of the application, which it was actually rescored. The commissions gave each applicant a score, and that's something that I use to my benefit in my presentation, because a lot of folks didn't necessarily know about that commission score, which my commission score was like 97% out of 100. That's good in my opinion.
Sounds like an A to me.
Plus.
That's an A+. Not 2, but we got 1 though. So they went about reevaluating the application to make sure everything was, copacetic. So they went about re-awarding the license again August 10th after the debacle of the tabulations of the scores. And once they were awarded the license again the second time around, I still wasn't awarded a license. And then just kind of how they went about the process, and that's when it got ugly. The University of South Alabama, they came and spoke at the meetings to talk about how they went about their grading, how they went about selecting their evaluators, what was the evaluators' background and makeup to actually be able to, their professionalism, their professional background
to be able to perform
to be able to do the
tasks.
evaluations. So it was a lot of questions in that itself, and then with me not being awarded a license again, August 10th, it brought a lot of questions from me. Because at that point, I didn't have any communication from the commission that I had a pass or fail deficiency, which quote unquote, I had a residency deficiency. I had 14 years of consecutive residency, and they dinged me on a few months, because now I got my 15 years.
Hey! Well, before you continue on this timeline, tell me the intersection or this requirement for minority license. Where does that fall on the timeline?
So the requirement always was.
It was there.
It was always there. The law required for 25% of the license to go to 51% minority-owned and operated companies.
Okay.
So that means in cultivation they was only able to give out 12 licenses. 4 of those had to be minority companies. In dispensary they was only able to give out 4 licenses. That means 1 of them had to be a minority-owned company. And processing they was only able to give out 4. 1 of those had minority-owned
That's
company.
math for you. You see the math is math.
For secure transportation, ain't no limit on those, but they got 2 and 2. And state lab testing, ain't no black state lab testers. And then for the vertically integrated, 1 of those has to be a minority-owned and operated company.
Yeah, let's not leave our brown brothers and sisters out of the minority conversation.
No, they part of it. They part of it. They just wasn't up.
So I'm confused. So you said that it was 4 licenses for cultivation, but only 2 received them. Am I confused?
They were only
something?
giving out 12. There
For
were
cultivation.
12 licenses on the table, 25%, which is 3, right?
Gotcha.
4.
No. 25% of 12 is 3.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, yes. Not 4.
It's 4 times 3.
All right, you got it. You got it.
Math is
That's
still
the
math.
first math problem I done got right in a long time, and y'all not gonna take it from me. Okay,
You can count today, baby.
today.
So,
Happy
so
Black History
my
Month.
question is, it was only 2 African American people that applied?
No, it was 4 of us that applied, but it was only 12 applicants that they could really choose from, so they could have gave us all the license and just eliminated all their problems. But the end of the first round, they only awarded 4, no black. The second round, they awarded 7, 1 black, and the third round, they awarded 7, 2 black.
Which added up to the 12.
Yeah,
They just put the black people last.
pretty much. Well, I went
it
first.
doesn't add up to 12. It's only 7 cultivators. They did not give out all
They small
7 licenses.
Oh,
Okay.
What he just
For the
described was
slots
the
that
different
were
rounds of
approved,
licensing.
The approvals. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
They could have gave out 12, but they only found 7 that.
So they didn't actually adhere to the minority clause until December. That's what I'm hearing.
To the
So,
end.
and so the discrepancy,
That's the point I was trying
right?
to
So
prove.
the
It was at the
discrepancy
end.
is already. We see the discrepancy in the issuing process, irregardless of how you're grading or anything, because you're not awarding the appropriate amount of license. And I'm gonna say minorities because I just want to be inclusive to all of us, right? Not just black people, anybody who can put themselves in this minority population. But regardless of how any of the scoring tactics were happening, y'all weren't adhering to this clause in the beginning.
Yeah, they had no intentions. They pulled the classic Alabama. No black, no minorities qualified.
Yeah, they literally said that there was nobody who did good. No black people did good enough.
And then when they did, they put you at the back of the bus like Rosa Parks is the last people to get the license. But you got it though. That's what I'm saying.
But that was a unique opportunity in this special procedure. They learned November 27th. Especially me being the first one to be able to speak and present, they recognize the quality of the individual it is that they speaking with. With me actually being a business owner and not a front man compared to how other folks are, I'm the CEO and owner of it. The buck stops with me. Any question that they have, I compile my application myself. Any question they have, I can answer. I ain't got to call nobody. I ain't had nobody standing up there with me. I didn't have a team of 3, 4, 5, 12, to be able to get up there and present. I spent my whole entire presentation talking myself.
What you did have was yourself standing at the podium. At least 50% of the crowd, after you got done delivering your speech, half of the room got up and left with you.
Correct.
Literally.
That's the support.
That's love and support from my culture.
So,
Alabama.
understanding your, Antoine, you've been preparing for this process before it even opened up in Alabama in 2022, right?
Yeah.
Before they even released the application. So, first of all, it sounds like your ability to get in front of the commission was a really unique spot that shined a light on your application, on you as a pillar in the community. Really, it's this unique spotlight that would have never been offered had you not given that presentation. My question is, do you know of this to be included in any other state? Do you know this opportunity to be a part of the application process?
Yeah, other states do offer that, and a lot of other states, the companies actually do have to give a presentation in front of the commission that they should be awarded a license. And Alabama had that in their legislation, but they pretty much, it was if they felt like it was required or needed.
And that is what set Alabama apart, is the fact that it was not mandatory. Okay. So you didn't have to come on November 27th and give a speech before the committee. You didn't have to do that. But to have not done that is kind of like weird, because like, how does the committee match a face to the work or to the name or to the application? So, you had a lot of people who did the total opposite of what you did. They came up there, there was 6, 12, 19 different people up there with them. They had to shuffle around. Different people could only answer different things. Some people couldn't answer everything. They had to call back and come, so it just literally, like you're saying though, that presentation showed. And the fact that he went first, like, I think that is a really huge thing. The fact that he went first and you didn't fumble, it was straight through. This is who I am. Y'all know who I am because you've been on the news. You've been literally the face of Alabama cannabis since this whole process has began.
Prior to
So let me provide y'all with some more updates that happened that day, what made it such a historic day. So November 27th was actually the day that they decided to throw the scores out. So whatever I did on that application, the score of that application no longer mattered. Whatever University of South Alabama, they felt like whatever my call in my application no longer mattered. Only thing that mattered at that point was me up there speaking, my public comments, when I ended up getting the most public comments, which I strategically prepared. I'm like, man, if it goes down to the wire, this is what's gonna get me through, and that's what we're training and preparation to get there. And then the commission scores as well too, because some of the commissions, I could just tell from their reaction when I said that, they were like, okay, yeah, he know that these scores remain. The other scores are thrown out, but these commission scores stays. And that's what they use for their evaluation process. And then as we went through the presentation and me speaking about exactly what we envision on doing here in Alabama, and then already with the connections and relationships that we currently have, especially to the great state university of Tuskegee University, with all the amazing things that y'all have been doing in the cannabis space, but as well as the other HBCUs as well. Alabama State got up there.
They did a phenomenal job. And of course, shout out WVAS. We love y'all. Mm-hmm. And ASU did phenomenal. Yeah,
I just knew they had it.
I thought they had it.
I knew they had it, but I guess it can only be one.
For real.
It can only be
How many
one.
licenses were awarded in total? They didn't award all 12.
One.
No, 7.
Oh no, and out of cultivation?
Out of cultivation.
Just 7. Just 7. So that makes us that much more valuable, that they felt like they didn't need to give out all 12 and only 7 being issued. And out of that 7, 2 of them being black owned, and those 2 black owned companies are true owners of they companies.
100%.
We're not tokenized, we're not a front man, we're not, I don't have anybody else pushing me. If I say something and my bottom line suffer, that's me that's suffering. I ain't gotta go explain to somebody like, yeah man, funds are looking a little sticky this time around, but at the end of the day, I receive the brunt of whatever comes from it, and I make the ultimate last and final decision.
So before we keep going with the timeline, is there a possibility, because at this point, there are 5 remaining cultivation licenses on the table, technically based on the law. So what would have to happen for those licenses to be distributed?
For one, the commission has to be focused. They are very distracted right now with lawsuits, investigative hearings, And then as well, the market is going to dictate if they need to give out more licenses. Yeah. So ain't no telling when that next round is going to be. It could be 2 years from now.
I mean, it was very interesting to your point. I'm thinking in the same timeline that when Alabama initially announced this, it didn't seem like they were making room for annual applicants or growth. It didn't.
One and done.
Yeah, it seemed like
We do have to apply every year though, but it'll be kind of.
It'll be for
for those that already got
for
licenses.
those who already have licenses, right?
There's
to
an opportunity
renew or
for
reinstate.
people who, of those last 4 of those, to still
That's what he's telling us
apply
right now.
within that year, right? When you
No.
reapply,
No.
Don't mean
That's
it's gonna be a
we're
deal.
not
No.
sure. That's where
just for us
that's what
as
we're not
licensed.
sure
but you're
about.
saying that'll be dictated from the market and the, you know what I'm saying,
The
the
demand.
demand, and that may set a precedent for them to.
That's
For
what
the
makes
council
sense
to
to
say
us.
we need to, obviously supply is not meeting demand. We need to do another round of licenses, in which case there will only be 5 remaining. So at this point, if you did not get in the beginning, the room is gonna be so jam packed.
You're gonna be in there with LeBron James on that court.
For real. And it's even crazy because they gave out all the dispensaries and the vertical integration. So those are also 2 heavy hitting, I guess what would those be, areas of the industry.
Yeah, they say those are the golden tickets.
Yeah, because vertically integrated, to remind people
Vertical
again,
integration.
vertically integrated is when you control your whole processing from seed to the moment it's in a dispensary and it is sold to a human individual.
Vertical integration means you covering all of those 6 licenses positions.
You do all
You
of that.
do everyone. So
Right.
technically it
Cultivation,
will
you
be
do
5.
processing, you do secure transportation, and you do dispensary. Only thing you can't do is test your own product.
Right, because that would be corrupt.
Yeah, you can juice that however you need. Yeah, we ain't gonna get into all that. In the past, folks used to pay for they certified analysis, certificate of analysis.
Antoine, I mean, it's really interesting. I get it. We're working. We're not attempting. Because of people like you, we can work to build out our cannabis space. But somewhere on the line was the ability for medical advisors to issue, what do you call them? User licenses?
Yeah, medical cards.
Medical
for
cards.
patients.
Did that just stop? But
Nah, they can't move until. all
Okay,
the
wait,
licenses-
let's keep going with the timeline.
Yeah.
I'm just...
Great question.
This is part of the timeline though, that's why.
So November 27th is when we was able to present in front of the commission. Then December 1st, I believe it was, when they actually made the announcements on who was awarded the licenses, which we had a watch party. We was actually out in Vegas at MJ Biz conference, had an amazing time out there. Shout out to everybody that did an interview with us, provided us with some amazing content, and it was it was a very historic week. So they ended up issuing the licenses, awarding the license for cultivation, dispensary, processing, secure transportation, and state lab testing in that one. And then after they awarded those licenses, then they had the vertically integrated applicants come present. So they took care of everybody else because they knew the vertically integrated, they presentation was crazy. They had an hour to be able to present, and they presented on the full
3
supply chain.
days worth of presentations back to back to back.
So they didn't actually award those licenses until December, I think it was 27, if my days are correct. And then after they awarded those licenses, that's when, of course, lawsuits started coming up everywhere. Folks, vertically integrated applicants are unhappy, which they're never going to be happy. They done spent too much money. They done already put millions of dollars up. They done already bought insurance bonds and everything. It's no way anybody's going to walk away and just gracefully bow out until the judge tell them that they can't get in. And then after that, they actually issued our licenses December 29th. Now, that's when my clock officially started. I got my piece of paper that says I am certified and licensed to be able to cultivate medical cannabis in the state of Alabama. And that's when it resonated for me that it was real. Because the December 2nd or 1st, I ain't feel it. I ain't feel it because
When they told you.
Yeah, because they can take it back just like they
So
took
you
it back
can
from
tell me
the
I'm going to get $1 million, but until I
get it,
see it.
And then once we actually got awarded our license December 29th, that's when my official clock started. Based
60
on
days.
60 days. The legislation calls that cultivators and vertically integrated, once we issued our license, we have to become operational in 60 days.
So also, and that was a key component to the presentations as well. For
If
you all
you
in
could become
particular,
operational.
they were asking questions about your ability to actually become
Are the
operational.
recordings on the
Yeah,
Cannabis
everything.
Commission?
Everything.
Check out the recordings if you
Or you
want to
go check out Native Black Cultivation on YouTube, and you'll be able to see my presentation with some additional content out there as well. But before I actually get to the process of them actually issuing a license, the commission had some work to do. Before they was able to issue the license, they had to do pre-issuing inspections, which they had to visit every single applicant location and scope the feasibility of them becoming operational
Before they could give you
before
a
they issue the license.
And let's remember, Alabama is new to the medical cannabis industry, but Alabama's not new to the cannabis industry.
No.
We've already awarded hemp license. We already had experience in attempting to manage those who have hemp licenses. And, we understand the cumbersomeness of one person making sure everybody in the entire state is operating within regulations. So even if we think back to the number of licenses awarded, can we really blame Alabama for keeping everything under 15? Not really.
I mean, it was honest for them to be,
Yeah.
because they know that they were going to be
Their
overwhelmed.
capacity.
Right. They didn't
Exactly.
have the capacity for it. The same way they barely have the capacity even now to manage the hemp side. Right.
Exactly.
So, again, I think that was one good thing that maybe came out of that.
Of the limited
is them
numbers.
being honest
Yeah.
about what they have.
Yeah,
what
you
they're
gotta,
up
you gotta
against.
manage and maintain your workload.
Well, we can find a silver lining, but we'll see what they talk about in 2025.
So, okay, because we definitely have to catch y'all up, right? Of course, what have we missed? But we definitely want to remind our new viewers and our new gang members what's up. Probably shouldn't say that because you know what we're talking about, but we can
It's
be
the love
honest
gang.
here. Yeah, like I love you in sign language, ASL, baby. So essentially, what else happened? Like, because we want to catch y'all up about what is cannabis. We keep talking about these things. What are they? But before we start unpacking what it is, we want to be sure that people are aware of the policies and where we stand this Black History Month with cannabis. So we are now in February. What has happened this year on the 2024 side?
Medical cannabis Alabama is moving forward. They have already completed the training. Each applicant, cultivator is expected to become operational, which everybody is in the process of building and getting everything in place to be in compliance. Now,
What's the date?
My date is March 1st.
So what about other areas of the industry? What are there any pivotal dates, or what are things that they need to have?
Everybody
to be
has 60 days to
Nope,
become
just
operational?
us, the cultivators.
Just the cultivator.
Just the cultivators.
Because you're the front line.
Yeah, you
we
the
start.
first start.
If nobody is producing,
There is
ain't
no
nobody
industry
testing,
without-
it ain't no transportation, it's not no processing, nothing happens if cultivators are not operational. I love to hear about this 60-day stance because how is it lining up? Is it lining up with true, production? I know you're doing indoor. Does it line up with the natural production of the plant?
Well, yes, because we
Okay.
have to be
'Cause you-
growing
'cause you
by
grow.
March 1st.
So that's a seed
And-
being sprouted, germinated.
Yeah.
Basically, these lights that you told us you could install and have on and operating in 60 days, they need to be on and operating. So you shouldn't just have your grow lights on if you're not growing nothing. So what are you doing?
Now you working on getting everything in place to be compliant. So the medical program called for specific things that you have to put in place. So everything you grow, it has to be enclosed. You can grow in the greenhouse, but it has to be enclosed. You can either grow indoors, and then you got to set up security parameters. You got to have fencing up. You got to have security system up, cameras and everything up. You got to have your grow lights and everything up. You got to have your insurance and everything in place, and you got to have that final sign off from the commission. I ain't done. Even if I get everything in place in the commission for I got some minor infraction that they feel like is worthy of them saying that I can't grow as of yet. I have to correct those things before I can actually grow. So it could possibly a can that's kicked down the road, which I feel like we'll be in compliance. But just being in the space as an owner. Now this is going to be outside of cannabis that I'm about to talk about, because just the construction side of everything, the project management side of everything, the funding of everything.
We might have to stop
financing
you
of
here. We got more episodes, Twan. We got more episodes.
That's a whole nother beast in itself. But we still got to respectably get that completed within
Right.
60 days. and natural disasters happen, storms happen, you know, so that kind of prolong it. But once we become operational, or once we get the sign off from the commission to start growing, then that's when a lot of folks. So now at that point, it could be either, you know, depending on how you're growing, you can possibly get a harvest in 3 months, or you can you can possibly get a harvest in 3 to 8 months. How I'm cultivating, how I'm growing, I'm starting everything from seed because I don't want to deal with nobody else's product. But you can be able to get clones in that can kind of expedite your process, or you can grow with auto flowers, which they immediately start growing. That's like what I think that's like GMO.
So
Okay.
we getting too deep because half of the people watching don't even know what CBD, THC, cannabis even is.
Cannabis
y'all. We gotta
101.
let them know what this
Cannabis
is.
101.
Ooh, you got me so into this timeline though. We're gonna have to come back to the timeline because there's a lot of one with everything riding on cultivators. That's, you know, it's really interesting. To your point, to anybody's point who's ever done a contract with any other entity, there are acts of God that can always potentially interfere. So understanding how everybody else was riding on your back, how that's going to unfold, it's very interesting to me. But to my sister's point, you know, we don't want to go. We ain't gonna dive in the 15 feet today,
Right.
But we gonna wade in the water.
Let me go and wrap up with the news.
We need touch national. What?
Let me go and wrap up the news. That's everything in the Alabama market, and y'all will learn more about it as we kind of go about discussing everything. But on a national level, we done had a lot of great things that happen. Depending on how you look at it. We had some more states that came on. We got some more states that ended up legalizing it, recreational wise. But the biggest thing I would like to talk about is our dear President Joe Biden.
Yep.
He signed executive. I don't even know if he even confirmed that it was executive order to pardon, you know, folks with federal marijuana convictions of like low. Yeah, he was definitely talking out the side of his neck. So
I thought it went through.
ain't nobody out.
Ain't nothing happened since that.
Ain't nobody out. He did
Since
roll it out
he made
recently.
that
Then,
announcement.
election and everything is coming up. They using it as a political play, which I really don't like. That they playing politics with people's lives. Let these folks out of jail so they can be able to return to society and be able to in better society. Nobody needs to be in jail for cannabis, in my opinion. Especially y'all letting us grow it here in Alabama. Alabama got the oldest laws on the book, and best believe they will enforce them all.
Nobody should be. I mean,
Nobody should be in jail
if we
for
gonna
it.
legalize it, you know, that's our other thing.
And so now we have the conversation about descheduling. You know, we had a lot more information come out about descheduling.
yeah.
Well, not descheduling.
Rescheduling.
As a Schedule 3.
What's that?
As a Schedule 3
No,
drug.
for real. What is descheduling versus rescheduling?
Rescheduling.
Rescheduling. So descheduling is pretty much taking cannabis
Off.
off of the
Not a
controlled
Y'all, this is
substances.
101. We have to take it all the way back. So cannabis, as of now, because it is a plant that is considered to have psychoactive compounds, which is what THC is, those plants right now, according to the DEA, exist on a schedule. And this schedule has a list of all of the drugs known to, at least right now, known to mankind, or at least the medical industry. Each schedule, as it gets higher, so the closer you are to Schedule 1, the least likely it is expected that you have any medical use whatsoever.
Schedule 1 is
No use.
no medical use. That is
It
what
is
a
useless.
Schedule 1 drug is a drug that does not benefit you.
No medical use and high addiction.
And high addiction rates. So opioids, for example, are Schedule 1, right? Even though we know that way more people die from opioids and overdose and things like that than have ever happened, because no one has
That's
ever
Schedule
died.
I like to revisit. I think opioids is Schedule 3.
They probably like Schedule 3.
Are they?
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
I think we had this
Fentanyl.
is Schedule 3 as well too.
A lot of drugs that you get from your pharmacist,
Are
they're not gonna be Schedule 1.
Because that's non-medical
Because it's not
use.
medical use. So anything that you're gonna get from your pharmacist
It's
or the
like
drugstore
Schedule
is
3.
at least Schedule 2 or 3.
Right, because 2 and 3 means that there is some medical use. It just needs to be controlled the way that it's
Yeah, it
given
has
to
to
the
be
public,
prescribed.
because it has to be prescribed because of its high addiction possibility. I'm sorry, I'm all in your face. And its high addiction possibilities. But essentially, the DEA has the opportunity to either take cannabis off this schedule in totality, which is deschedule, or to reschedule cannabis, which means to place it at a different level outside of level 1? Because obviously if there are medical industries in more than half of the United States and a lot of countries around the world, we know that it has medicinal value. So for it to be Schedule 1 kind of doesn't make sense. But we have episodes on that. Check us out so you can learn more about that. What are some other cannabis like 101 things that people need to know? Because of course we obviously don't have to unpack this can of worms again next week. But what are some things that you think people should just know?
So when I think about cannabis, I think about two things. I think about marijuana, or what they consider marijuana, and hemp, right? The illegal versus the legal, or the medicinal versus the industrial, right? So that's where I go when considering cannabis, right? Legal. I mean, let me not say legal, because medical marijuana is legal, but the free to ad lib to smoke and indulge is illegal. Adult recreational use is illegal.
In Alabama.
Right? In Alabama. Which has nothing to do with the hemp aspect,
right,
which is all or more so industrial when considering products that you can make that's derivative from the cannabis plant.
Right. And even hemp, so a lot of times people have questions around like THC versus CBD. Like you may be riding around and you may see all these little green plus signs at your gas station or at your smoke shop, right? That is really just a sign that says that they have CBD. Why are you shaking your head now?
Because that is not safe. Do
It is
not
not safe.
buy.
I'm not saying buy it. I'm just saying that's them letting you know that they've got something
It's a
related to CBD.
Trap.
But CBD.
Know your farmer.
I was just about to say, know your farmer, know where you're getting this quality product from.
Right. Anything you
Not just
ingested.
buy things out of the gas station. That's like gas station sushi.
Don't get that
Right?
synthetic.
You know what I'm saying? To me, it's the same thing. It's the same
That's
gamble.
scary.
It's the same gamble. Would you buy sushi from a gas station?
No.
You know
Raw
what I'm saying?
fish.
So where did you
Petrol,
buy your gas?
Yeah, no.
Don't
Give me no.
Yeah.
But to your point, you know, there are.
Oh yeah, the green plus signs everywhere. That is just talking about the availability of something called CBD, which you may commonly see, which stands for cannabinoids, right? So cannabinoids, cannabidol, right, is a compound which basically carries I don't want to go that deep into it. I'm gonna stop right there. But essentially you have CBD and THC. And CBD is non-psychoactive, whereas THC is psychoactive. So that feeling you get, like, or may have experienced or not, if because we're in Alabama, so maybe you haven't, right? Following the law. But if you have by chance encountered this, maybe you went to California or something like that, you know, there are topicals, which is like ways that you could rub it in. You got edibles, which means different ways to eat. I can't see what you're showing me. You got edibles, and then you got consumables like combustible, which means smoking, right? Or dabs and different things like that. Right? But basically, CBD is for people who may be experiencing different types of pain and you want some type of alleviation without that feeling in your brain, right? But for people who want that alleviation and that feeling in your brain, that's where THC comes in, right? CBD is derived from hemp as well, but CBD is not the only derivative of hemp, right? So you talked about it being industrialized, and of course we do have episodes from last season that you can look up and learn more about this. But real quickly before we sign off, what are some of the uses of hemp?
I love hemp. I love hemp because it's the next crop that can really change the trajectory of all our daily lives.
How? By what?
It can be used for clothing. It can be used
He almost popped the hell out of my collar.
It can be used as for clothing. It can be used for remediation, which is one of the higher needs.
What is
for example,
remediation?
Remediation, it can clean our air. It can remove the high load of CO2
Environmental remediation. Reversing the effects of climate change caused by humans.
Hemp is one of the most impressive plants that it removes a lot of CO2 out of the air outside of our traditional plants. So like I like to tell folks, hemp plant can remove as much CO2 out of the air as a 10-year oak tree plant.
CO2 is a greenhouse gas that's responsible for these changing temperatures that you experience all over Earth. That's why we want to take some of it out of the air. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Now you can be able to produce hemp A full mature hemp plant takes 4 months to reach that maturity to remove that much CO2, and it actually thrives off of CO2. So you really want to give it as much CO2 as it can. But for on the flip side of that, oak tree that take 10 years to get up to that point, you know, we missing a lot of time that we can be able to reverse a lot of these situations. As well, you can use it for remediation to clean our soils. It removes a lot of toxins out of the soil, but you don't want to use none of that hemp for like animal feed or things. Anything you ingest. You don't want to use it as that. You can use it as building material, you know, hempcrete or something like that. Insulate your homes and stuff with it. You don't want to ingest.
Which is another use of hemp, right? You can turn it hempcrete. It is a beautiful, super sturdy, almost virtually fire resistant building material. So you've got the insulation that you get with the hemp wool, where it gets super light and fluffy, and you can literally put it in there. Also,
while it's not even in the ground.
Right. So that process is carbon sequestration, which is basically when you take all of the carbon out of the sky and you use plants to pull it out of the sky, and it disperses it through its roots into the soil, which is where the carbon is really supposed to be anyway, because soil is, you know, like most things on earth, is carbon based, and so you need it. There are places it should be and places it shouldn't be, but there are other episodes for that.
It's not shit. Well, and I'll say, you know, to answer your question, these are the things that I like about him, or that I like about the cannabis plant. Its versatility and its ability to give back. And one thing I'm interested in particular is finding the line, right? You just mentioned to us, there's so many different paths we can go on, right? So Antoine, you just mentioned to us the requirement, essentially, that if you are a cultivator in the state of Alabama for medical cannabis, where we're growing medical cannabis that is intended to be consumed or ingested, you have to basically have an enclosed or indoor operation. So in situations like that, we're not really getting the soil, you know, we're not getting the CO2, we're not gaining these environmental factors.
They're actually injecting CO2 in those enclosed buildings for the plant.
Oh! Yeah, so you can suck it out the sky, use your vents, and pump it into the
Nah, they got containers.
They're buying CO2.
CO2.
That's
they're buying compressed CO2.
It's like a oil. It's like a tank.
It's like a gas tank. Propane tank.
It's like a gas tank, like oxygen, yeah. Right, to feed the plant, so we know it's thriving off of it. So there's this opportunity. There's so much opportunity, right? There's still opportunity in the medical space. We do not want to take that from the medical space. But there's also this environmental opportunity that requires us to be hemp producers in order to experience the environmental benefits. We have to grow hemp in order to see the reversing climate change, in order to pull some of the carbon out the sky, even in order to optimize on the industry that lies behind the hemp plant. We have to grow hemp. So for me, when we talk about cannabis, yeah, it's cool, and we know it, like we said, yeah, you know cannabis, ganja, weed, you know that.
Marijuana.
Yeah. But do you really know hemp?
Fiber
and shelter. That's what we need.
Oh, and ultimately,
fiber and shelter.
One of the biggest things, and fuel. Right?
Can't make biofuel.
There are so many things that we can do with hemp and cannabis, and we just spent a lot of today scratching the surface of the political aspect. We ain't even getting to the scientific aspect, but ultimately, the best thing to drive this all home is for people to understand that no one can grow the green alone. It takes a community that's willing to come together and sow seeds of growth. And those are the seeds that we plan to keep on sowing here at Growing the Green. So let's keep growing together.